Well, I would say the way we framed it in the paper, we see four big ideas that we think should help drive US engagement in the region and follow this conflict resolution and peace building approach. Number one, we think there's got to be a lot more listening done on the part of the US government. This is a confusing region to outsiders at the best of times. It's very difficult to understand what's happening in the sort of eye of the conflict storm in the region. And so the first recommendation we make is that the US government really needs to listen to a broader range of local voices, particularly non-state actors in civil society, to really understand why are people fighting, what are their central grievances, and how crucially can the US government help them deal with that. And then the second recommendation is it's not just about listening, we also need to enhance our own capabilities to actually understand local conflict dynamics better than we have done previously. And as we talked about before, part of the conclusion we came to in looking at the conflicts in the region was that many of them were based around really quite localized grievances, which not really to do with great sort of interstate level politics, but to do with very core provincial, regional, even sometimes village level tensions. As a result, we've got to think differently, I think, within the US government about how do we gather the type of information that's going to be crucial to understanding those things. And that will mean things like getting US personnel out from embassies in capital cities and getting them into a different mindset for how they gather information about conflict dynamics. And so getting them out to the peripheries, getting them to engage with more non-state actors and non-governmental channels. And then the third big recommendation we feel is that the US government doesn't need to take on the burden or the primary role of conflict resolution itself in the region. We think it can play its best role when it helps facilitate other locals. Ultimately, it's going to be local actors who deal best with local problems, and it's going to be local actors that fix these things in the long-term stable sense. But the US government can play an important role in facilitating, and we mean that in a number of senses. It can play a role with giving political support, it can give financial support, and it can also help provide financial support for training packages, trust building, and other types of conflict resolution mechanisms. But the thing that we recommend in particular is that it should help create some sort of regional forum in which local actors themselves can discuss what are the major challenges in terms of peace and security that we face across the region. Because as we identify in the report, one of the central problems is that the actors in the Horn, both state and non-state, don't have any degree of common consensus over the peace and security challenges that they face, let alone any common consensus about what's the best type of solution. So if we could facilitate a type of constructive and frank dialogue about how should we view the key peace and security challenges, which of those are common to all of us, how can we come up with common solutions and common ways of understanding the challenges, we feel that would be the best role that the US government could play in this situation.